I'm trying to figure out how Iyanla Van Zant asking Ebony K. Williams would she date a bus driver, and Ebony K. Williams saying no, but I would date the guy that was the bus owner. I wish these bus drivers pulled up in these buses and took a lot of y'all the hell on home. Really, because why are y'all so mad? Can we talk about it? Anyway, y'all, welcome to my channel. If you have not done so already, go ahead and like, share, subscribe, put the bell button on for more notifications, see what, who, me, want. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, but definitely comment below and let me know what you guys think. Just make it respectful. We can agree to disagree. Just make it respectful or get the hell on, okay? Because I really ain't got patience. Now, when I tell you that this discussion has ran my blood pressure through the roof, it ain't sitting right with my spirit. Something in the chitlin juice ain't juicing, okay? Now, I saw the interview with Iyanla Van Zant and Eboni K. Williams, and I just want to go on record and say I love me some Iyanla Van Zant. Fixed my life, loved it. Terrible when it got off the air. I now realize why it's off the air. I saw a side of Iyanla that I did not want to face. And for years, women have been coming for Iyanla, especially when she was on the Breakfast Club before, calling her mammy, she mammified, mammy fixed my life, all of this stuff. And I just used to, don't talk about my auntie like that. Don't talk about my auntie. But sometimes auntie got to get dog walked. Sometimes auntie, we might love you, but we got to teach you some things. We need to really fix your life at the end of the day. And I didn't want to face that Iyanla was this person that people was making her out to be, because I loved her books. I got a couple of her books. I loved her TV show. I loved everything about Iyanla and how her willingness to be so selfless in helping other people fixed her life. But there was a pattern on her show that I guess I just didn't want to face. But with this viral video with Ebony Williams, it forced me to go back and watch some of the episodes and see the difference in the way she handled the men and in the way that she handled the women. So as we all know, Iyanla asked her, would she date a bus driver? Okay, now let's just dissect that. Now you're asking a woman that's a lawyer that is making $1 million, would she date a bus driver? And she goes, no, but I would date the man that owns the bus driving company. And y'all are mad. Iyanla is mad. And if you really go back and watch that interview, Iyanla says that she would date the bus driver. She would just make sure a prenup is in order and she would have her money on the side. But you're shaming this woman for saying, I ain't got to do all of that. I just won't date him. Ebony K. Williams is just turning around and saying that I would not date a person that's mediocre, a person that is average. She has her standards. And I'm trying to figure out now. Hold your wig caps. Hold your waist trainers, hold your drawers for this, because I'm finna say some things that a lot of y'all, that's gonna tap dance on a lot of y'all nerves, that y'all really not gonna like. Now, we spent years upon years listening to Kevin Samuels tell y'all how much women are mediocre. She's a -2 out of 3. She's mediocre. You're average at best. We listened to him go up and down Beyonce's internet, dragging women, using terms like mediocre and average at best, until Ghostbusters took his ass home. Okay? Y'all didn't have a problem with the terminology mediocre and average. Now all of a sudden, this one black woman turns around and says, I want to date someone that has a good job and has a good mindset. And let me just say this. You never hear of white men. You can ask a white judge. You can ask a white lawyer, a white doctor. You can ask an Asian scientist. You can ask an Asian man. Would they allow, number one, their young children to bring D's and C's home and F's home? Would they allow that? Their mother or their father, would they allow that? The answer is going to be no, because there's a certain standard that a lot of these kids have as it pertains to education. There's a standard that these children have to meet to maintain the family legacy, okay? To keep the old money rotating, okay? There's a certain standard of education that these children have to meet. So as they get older, there's definitely a certain standard, a dating standard that they have to meet. They are not going to push and promote their daughters to date bus drivers. Now listen, there is nothing wrong with bus drivers, truck drivers, the milkman, the mailman. I'm sick of my mailman. I wish somebody come take that damn job. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with those positions. And I'm trying to figure out, when I was on Beyonce's internet and y'all going back and forth, allowing y'all crusty fingers to get carpal tunnel. When did this become about essential workers? When did this become, because her one dating standard is here and y'all want her to be here? When did this become hatred towards essential workers? And I hate that for Iyanla. I hate that in her response on her YouTube video. I hate that it turned into I loves me a bus driver, and I loves me a truck driver. This is not hate towards the essential workers. Now, we done sat through COVID-19. We done sat through all of that. We know how important essential workers are. Like, get real. Like, are y'all okay? Are y'all seriously okay? How did this become about essential workers not being needed, not being valued, and not being necessary? How? If COVID-19 has taught us nothing, it has taught us that essential workers are needed and necessary. But because of her dating standards, you feel like they're not needed and necessary. Is it a low self-esteem thing? It has to be a low self-esteem thing, because there's no way a millionaire, or even when y'all daddy Kevin Samuels was on Beyonce's internet talking about mediocre and average, it didn't hurt my feelings. There's no way a millionaire can tell me I would never date a person like myself, and I get offended and I get mad. That's what he chooses to do. Now, there's tons of black men in entertainment and in football that they come out and they tell us who their preferences and prefixes are all the time. We see who's on who got their hand on a red carpet. We see it all the time. They don't hesitate. There was an athlete and his friend making a toast to more mixed biracial babies, and they were with their Caucasian fiancés and wives. They tell us all the time who their preferences are. But this one woman goes, I would not date that person financially, and all of a sudden, y'all done shit your pants. Make it make sense. This is not about hatred towards essential workers. This is her preference. And I'm trying to figure out, when dating someone, right, doesn't finances play a role when you're trying to date, when you're trying to marry? And trust me, I am married, before a lot of y'all go in the comment section, or a lot of y'all raggedy women on the struggle bus. Okay, beep, beep. Before y'all try to come for me, because I know that's the end all to be all of the marriage, right? And it's really not, because once you're married, you realize that's not the end all to be all. The work has just started. But anyway, that's another video for another day, right? So when dating, right, and wanting to marry and wanting to build and have a family, don't finances come into play along with love and how a person treats you? But doesn't finances come into play? Now, mind you, I hate this also for Iyanla. And I really, really want to drag our elder, but I'm really trying not to. In her little discourse on YouTube with Perry, with the little light skinned dude with the glasses. I don't really know his name. I don't really want to be respectful. It was giving me Malcolm X vibes. I don't really know this man. Talking about we need to be in relationships not just for finances but for love. For love. You might miss out on a good truck driver that love you because you worrying about let me tell you something. The way the electricity work, the way the gas that goes up and down, like a lot of y'all draws. The way rent and mortgage works. Let me tell you something. I cannot put gas in my car's ass solely off of love. I cannot pay my kids' tuition and extra activities solely off of love. I cannot go on trips with the love of my life just by love alone. Like this idea, and this is what Eboni K. Williams was talking about, is black people as a whole. We are some loving people. Don't get me wrong. We do hate on each other, but we normally are loving people for the most part, collectively, the community. I'm trying to figure out how finances don't play a role in it. That all should be a part of it. What are y'all used to talk about with Kevin Samuels. What are you coming to the table with? What you got? You got the hookah, I got the liquor. What you coming to the table with? So now this woman is coming to the table with education, money, and she's saying, I need a man to also come to the table with the same thing, along with loving me, along with caring for me, along with all these other things. And it is a problem. Y'all gonna have love and be homeless. I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna say it. To think that a relationship is going to flourish solely alone on love, and then once you add bringing the kids into the mix, that's a concoction for being homeless. And then y'all turn around with these poverty stories, unfortunately, because there was no financial literacy in your household. Yes, you had love, you had kisses, you have hugs, but there was no financial literacy in your household. When does the cycle get broken, right? When do we say, I'm going to do better than my parents did or their parents did, so that my kids could do better for their children? When do we get off the struggle bus? Then there were some people dragging Eboni K. Williams, talking about she has no right to speak for black people. She failed marriages and failed. First of all, she's never been married. She's been engaged before. She's never been married. But you can say the same thing about a lot of people. You can say the same thing about Iyanla. 3 failed marriages. She talked about how she was a shitty ass mom, and she had the #1 show on OWN fixing other people's lives. Just because someone had a failed marriage or failed relationship or went through some shit doesn't mean that they can't teach, doesn't mean that they can't show, doesn't mean that they don't have the knowledge. Doesn't mean because they went through some shit, they don't go, okay, I got to step back and now set better standards for myself. And I don't understand this idea that clear women, they never have this conversation, or they're never chastised for having dating standards when it comes to finances. They're never chastised. But the gag is Eboni K. Williams never mentioned anything about black men when she said she wouldn't date a bus driver. Black men just got hurt. And then a lot of people in certain comment sections like, we're the bus drivers. We want to know how they feel. They driving the bus. And 9 times out of 10, they don't care. Real men that are out here working, that are out here seriously providing for their family, they don't care about this viral moment. They're not paying attention to what people are saying. They really don't care. 9 times out of 10, a man that is working, that got his head screwed on straight, that is not overly emotional, he's not going back and forth with women in comment sections, and I'm telling you, he has no idea what's going on. How many times I have to tell a certain men that I know, or even my husband, hey, this is viral today. This is what happened. This is what happened. They're like, oh, I didn't know that was going on. They're too busy working. They're too busy providing. They're too busy taking care of themselves or their families. Let's just call a thing a thing. But I want to say, what is it, 3-1 when it comes to men? I think it's like 2 million women to a million men or something like that. Women outnumber men. So it's definitely apparent that black women obviously outnumber black men. So no, obviously speaking, if you're just looking to date a black man because we outnumber them, everybody is not going to get married. That's just the reality. Or unless you say, listen, I'd rather do this alone. I'd rather be alone for the rest of my life than to deal with dust. And that's okay too. That's your standard. And there's nothing wrong with setting goals. There's nothing wrong with setting standards. But this is what's a little bit confusion for me. Okay? They want y'all, Iyanla and the Malcolm X dude, want y'all to date bus drivers, date the milkman, date the people at FedEx. Okay, date those people. Okay. That's cool. But if we outnumber men, are these bus drivers really having a problem with finding someone? There are men in prison getting married. Love after lockup wouldn't be a thing if these men, these below average or average dudes, like these shows wouldn't be a thing. These men are getting women. These men are able to get women. These men have access to women. These mediocre average dudes have access to women. I know tons and tons and tons of black women, especially because I'm familiar with black women. I run in circles with black women, so I can only speak for us, okay? Well, not for us, but I can only speak from that experience. They're dating drug dealers. They're dating men that are locked up. Going to the courthouse, going to the jailhouse to see these men, sticking by their side, men that's cheating on them, men with multiple women. These below average, mediocre men, these bottom of the barrel men have access to women. And you can't tell me anything differently. They're dating them. So this is my thing. So when they date the jailbirds, the dudes in jail, or you want to go up a bit, when they're dating the bus drivers, because bus drivers and people in jail or people selling drugs and stuff like that, totally different, right? When they go up a notch and you go to the bus drivers, you go to the milkman, you go to the mailman, you go to them, right? And let's say a woman, he beats on her or knocks her up. He has multiple kids by multiple women. He puts her through hell. She's now a single mother, and what y'all like to call her ran through, right? Y'all tell her, you know what? Y'all look her dead in her face. Y'all gaslight her, and you tell her, you should have done better. Look at you. You're raggedy. Your hair uneven. Your breath stink. You got kids. You're unmarriageable. Ain't nobody checking for you. You should have done better. Okay. So then they go. They now have to act as the mother and father because the father is nowhere to be found. Right? And I know that's something that Iyanla touched on. Masculine energy. I had this masculine energy, but why? Right? You don't want to touch on why. Because your father wasn't there. Them kids' fathers wasn't there. So, yeah. You don't want to touch on that, though. Okay, that's fine. You ain't got to. So, she now steps back and she goes, okay, I got to do some reflecting, right? Some women do, some women absolutely don't. They just continue repeating the cycle over and over again. But some women go, okay, now I got to do some reflecting. I got to do some self-evaluation. I got to do some shadow work. Okay, I really got to figure out why I found myself in that situation. Now a single mother, now in some shit. I'm looking to get back into the game and find someone that truly loves me and my baby or babies. I'm going to change. I'm going to work on me. I'm going to set certain standards, not only for myself, but for the next person that comes along. So she says, this is my standard. You told me to do better. I'm going to do better. I'm going to do better than better. Okay. She goes, okay. She comes back. This is my standard. How dare you have standards? Who are you? Who are you? How dare you have standards? You're not all that. You average at best. Lower your standards. But didn't I just come from lowering my damn standards? This is some narcissistic, demonic bullshit. At this point, I'm sorry, I'm just convinced it's hella demonic. Because you just complained about her doing better, choosing better. She's now choosing to set standards and be better and choose better and come to the table with something more. Or you get mad at the man that she meets that finally goes, okay, I'm going to help you. Since you coming to the table with this and you've changed, I've had some shit, I've changed. We could come to the table and make something work. Now helping her take care of the baby. Y'all call him a simp. Y'all say something wrong with him. But you just told him to do better. So it's, I want you to do better, but not really do better. It's sounding like narcissism. It's really sounding like narcissism. It's the same thing y'all do to Sierra and every other woman that has now changed and decided to do better. Y'all drag her for filth because she didn't choose the bottom of the barrel, or she got away from the bottom of the barrel, and it's still a problem. Like, I want you to do better, just not better than me. Wait a minute. It's real narcissistic in this motherfucker. Like really. And this be really getting my blood pressure because I've been there. I was a single mom. I was visiting dude in the jail and probation and all of that. I dealt with that. To now come out and find somebody amazing, willing to love me and my child and marry me and build. And we have more kids. Like, and I was called to Sierra. People stopped talking to me. But you know one thing is, I didn't give a damn. Because I knew what's for me is what's for me. And what's not for me is not for me. And I know what I'm not willing to tolerate and what I'm willing to tolerate. And I know I'm not willing to go backwards. I'm willing to go forwards. Because once you bring a life into this world, you have to set a certain standard. You have to set a certain example as a parent, because it's no longer about you. Now, let's go to the Breakfast Club. Now, I know everybody, a lot of people on Twitter, Black Twitter, be talking about the Breakfast Club, how shitty they are. I would still watch interviews here and there, still support them here and there. They not only gaslit Eboni K. Williams, they railroaded her. They talked to her in that tone on purpose. Envy, DJ Envy is just that. Envious. I'm trying to figure out why he was so emotional and pressed. Emotional and pressed. Because this woman had standards. This woman had standards. Why are you so upset? You have daughters. Wouldn't you want them to have standards? Maybe meet a guy like you or better than you? You don't have standards. This is the same guy that cheats on his wife. He couldn't even set standards for himself as a man, as a husband, to be that husband that his wife needed. Since we're holding people's past against them, let's just go ahead. I think it was disgusting the way that he was talking to her. And I was going to play a clip on here, but I'm not even going to go there because it ran my blood pressure through the roof. You can go on a Breakfast Club and view that. He purposely did that because she is a woman. He purposely did that because when he's gone back and forth with Dame Dash before, he's overly emotional. And it's men like that I can't be around, even in business. When it comes to anything, romantic, love life, friendships, I can't be around men like that. Because what are you capable of doing because you can't control your emotions? You on a radio station and you can't control your fucking emotions? Get a therapist. Okay. I did not like the way that he was talking to her. Dr. Umar talks with the same diction, the same volume, and a lot of times he doesn't buck up against Dr. Umar when he on a Breakfast Club. I'm trying to figure out why certain people have access to these major platforms and they choose not to do research, they choose not to educate themselves, they choose not to understand, purposely acting obtuse. And they have a platform that is subjected to 1 million ears, 1 million listeners, and you're choosing to be this ignorant. You're purposely acting ignorant. I just didn't understand that. I feel like they railroaded her. I feel like they purposely didn't understand. I feel like they kept moving the goalposts, kept backpedaling and pussy popping, as if they did not understand what this woman was talking about. What was so hard to comprehend what she's saying? It's now a state of emergency because this one black woman says that I have a standard. And if you don't meet my standard, you can't date me. Okay, I won't date you. This idea that even if you don't want someone, you should still have access to them. Or even if you want them, you should still have access to them. Just because I find you attractive, just because I want you, doesn't mean I should have full access to you, right? So just because she goes, I would not date you, or you get upset because you can't have full access to her. What the fuck is that? You're not going to have full access to everybody you deem attractive. Everybody that you like might not like you. You might not be somebody's cup of tea. That's okay. Another man's trash is another man's treasure. Everybody ain't going to like you. This idea that we have to like who likes you. They got to force themselves to be into you. Who the fuck are you? And this is where the low self-esteem comes in at. Her standards are her standards. Okay. Goodbye. Next. What's the big deal? Now, according to the Kevin Samuels of the world, according to different people of the world, Eboni K. Williams she's considered a preference. Light skin, nice hair, she's skinny. We know the fat phobia, how y'all feel about the Lizzos of the world. She's skinny. She's career oriented. She has her own because, God forbid a woman didn't have her own. I would call her a gold digger. You're making $25K a year. What gold are we digging? You don't even have enough money for a shovel. And this is not to shit on people that make that amount. But I'm just saying, y'all love throwing the gold digger word in. Somebody on one of the comment sections said she's a gold digger. How? She has her own gold. Gold digging how? You guys, you niggas are unhinged. But anyway, Eboni K. Williams by y'all standard, will be considered a preference. She's considered a preference. So you're mad because your preference has a preference. You're mad because your preference is preferencing and you're going to have a heart attack about it. Get help. Anyway, sorry to rant and go on, but that's just how I feel about that. It's narcissism. It's sick. It's twisted. A lot of y'all need something to do. A lot of y'all need a job. I just don't get it. We went through years of hearing mediocre and average at best. It didn't bother y'all. Now all of a sudden y'all don't know what average and mediocre means, and all of a sudden y'all feelings are hurt. Go to therapy and unpack it. That's all I gotta say. Anyway, like, share, subscribe, put the bell button on for more notifications. Don't forget to share this with your pastor, share this with your baby daddy, your mama, people at the courthouse. Share this with any and everybody. Thank you for watching. Bye.